moving forward with Doc
They'll be
Rivers.
fine.
He's going to have to use a lot of different lineup combinations, at least out of the gate with Paul George, at least the first 10 games to be
the
out.
Clippers are deep. When you start looking
Very
at guys like Mo Harkness and guys like that, they are a deep
Gruder,
team.
who didn't play
Yeah,
on
so
Sunday.
they can survive these guys missing some games.
All right, a team that doesn't have that type of depth, right down the hall, the Lakers. We thought on Sunday we were going to get an Anthony Davis update on his thumb, which he injured in China. However, there were some complications with the Lakers getting back to L.A. from China on time, so they pushed the MRI from Sunday to Monday. The initial report is just a sprain, no ligament damage, but again, we wait for the MRI. How nerve-wracking is this for you to look at, right out of the gate here, we're talking about an Anthony Davis injury?
Well, it's going to be tough because of his history. So if you're the Lakers, you're holding your breath. I think at the end of the day, AD is going to be fine. Look, he's excited about these seasons. A lot of people have him picked as their preseason MVP of the league. I think he's going to be fine. But the tough thing that's going to be tough for this Laker team is they don't have the depth like this Clipper team. So every time a guy like LeBron James or Anthony Davis get nicked up or miss some games, it may be a struggle for them to win. And the thing about it, Jerry, this is going to be key. As tough as the West is, how do you rest your players? Because if you lose 2 or 3 games in a row, you can go from a possible in the top 4 to the bottom 4. And we all know those top teams, absolutely, those top teams, it's not important that you win the West, but it's important that you at least get that first round at home.
Well, we'll get you the latest on Anthony Davis as soon as we have it. We want to let you know you can watch the Lakers right here on NBA TV as part of our Monday night preseason doubleheader. Warriors-Lakers, these two getting together a bunch in the preseason. That's at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. That follows the Hornets and Grizzlies. That's Monday night right here.
6-time All-Star Paul George is joining the Clippers.
It was stunning that the Clippers were the team that pulled us together.
News that dominated the day, Russell Westbrook is reunited with James Harden with the Houston Rockets.
This is just the latest seismic shift in the West. Don't forget, in addition to the newcomers, Dennis Schroeder is still part of that interesting guard rotation. Andre Robertson, remember him?
Yes.
Great defender.
That's right.
Been forever since he played. He is in camp, fully participating after missing a season and a half from a ruptured tendon in his left knee. Horrible injury. The power forward spot has all newcomers, including rookie Darius Bazley and Danilo Gallinari, who had a great season last year with the LA Clippers and is in the final season of his contract as well. Those are two things that would be appealing to a lot of contending teams out there. What are the chances that Gallo is in an OKC uniform by season's end?
I'd be shocked. He's on an expiring contract. He's playing great. I mean, he had a great season last year, shot over 50% from the floor, 40% from 3, and gets to the free throw line attacking. His whole thing has been health. He's averaged 50 games a year over his career is all, and the 68 he played last year were the most in 7 years. So if he can stay healthy, though, this guy can help a contender get over the top.
Honestly, it tells you all you need to know about his career in terms of health. That 68 games was considered a full season for Danilo Gallinari.
And it's crazy, Matt, that something that simple can really hinder a guy's career. But what we see now, when healthy, he can really help a team. Getting to the free throw line last year really showed me when his legs are right stand, he can really bring value to the offense in the floor. And last year on the defensive end, he got better with his rebounding. So now stay healthy, and I think a contending team will come after him.
He knows as well as anybody that he is playing for other teams around the league as much as the Oklahoma City Thunder this season. Guess what? Steven Adams is now the longest tenured member of the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he's, 26, I think?
He'll be 26 this year.
What does this season look like for him, and is he a part of the long-term development of this franchise?
I would think so because he's still so young, because what he does best, rebounding, setting screens, doesn't ask for plays to be called for him, a great teammate, great locker room guy. So I can see Sam Presti staying holding on to him. Unless someone comes along and offers something that you can't refuse, then maybe he gets moved.
I totally agree with Dennis on that. I mean, he's a foundational piece. I mean, he's a defensive stalwart. He's going to get on the boards. He's one of the best offensive rebounders in the league, and he's about all the right things. He's going to play hard every night, and he's all about winning games. Why would you not want him around your other young players as you rebuild?
Terrence Ferguson became a regular in the rotation, often a starter for Oklahoma City last year, and was able to keep himself on the floor in part with his ability to knock down three-point shots, which he hadn't been able to do previously. What does he look like short-term for this season, long-term for this team?
Well, look, he defends and he shoots. He's a 3-and-D guy.
Right.
Now, the problem is if they don't have Chris Paul and Gallinari finishing the year, the question is, does he do enough?
Yeah.
Because if you look, he doesn't rebound. He's not going to pick up assists. They're going to have to put talent around him. He's a good fifth starter. He's a good guy off the bench, but not much more than that, at least at this point in his career.
Dennis Schroeder, whether Chris Paul is there or not, you've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. How does he fit in?
I'm not sure, man. Because when we was here with Atlanta, guys fell in with little goldies. I like to call him with a little gold patch in his hair.
Yep.
But Goldie showed flashes, and then certain times I'm like, it's too much erratic play, too many turnovers. I think I want the young fella Gilgeous there in the starting line. So I'm not surprised that he might be moved, Stan.
Is he a starter on a winning team?
I would say no. I think he's a backup on a winning team. I think he's a backup. He can come in, change the pace of the game. He can get to the rack. One thing
Sure.
he did show that last year. He still can get to the basket, but as a starter, I like him coming off the bench more.
Hey, I would agree, but if those kind of questions are always tough, Matt, because who's around him?
Right.
Who's in
Yeah.
the starting
Sure.
lineup
Yeah.
with him?
Right.
If he's the guy you're relying on, no. But if you put enough talent around him, yes.
Well, I am here to ask the tough questions, Stan.
There you go, and they are tough. That is a tough one.
More on the way. Chris Paul is back in Oklahoma City, where he spent his first 2 years as a Hornet. We're back in a moment with how many wins his new OKC team can expect. Tough.
This season, Masai Ujiri's gamble paid off. Kawhi Leonard won the Finals MVP in his single season north of the border. The Claw left in free agency to L.A. So who's up next to lead the Raptors? Pascal Siakam took a giant step forward last year, but can he take another leap? All that and more on the Raptors Team Preview Show. It starts now. The Raptors Preview Show, Chris Miles here with Isaiah Thomas and Sam Mitchell. Can I get some love?
Absolutely.
All around, fellas. Well, passing just like the Raptors. Look, you guys both have ties to that team. You won Coach of the Year when you were there. Also, you were part team owner and president when they first arrived to Canada, seeing what they were able to accomplish last season. How big was that for basketball internationally and in Canada?
It was a surreal moment for me, and also, I would say for the country of Canada. Being there, watching them celebrate, watching them win, and being in the arena and seeing those uniforms on the stage, knowing what that championship meant to the country of Canada and to all of basketball, I thought it was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, I agree, Isaiah, man. Having coached there, been in that city, and Isaiah can attest to this. When we first got there, you barely saw hoops in the driveways. It was always people would flood their driveway or their backyard to put in makeshift hockey rinks. Now, there's basketball hoops everywhere. And when you look at what the Raptors did, and I love the way they did it, Isaiah, they took a team with one superstar and they put a deep team around him with very good players, and they broke the norm. They set the NBA up on its head because it had been for the past 5-6 years. You got to have 2+ all-stars, superstars to win. The Raptors did it with one.
You mentioned that superstar in Kawhi Leonard. He's now in L.A. So are they still contenders in the East because they lose Kawhi and Danny Green?
I still think they're a playoff team, Isaiah and Chris. I still have them in the playoffs. But it's tough, man. This is different. I think Pascal Siakam is going to make the next jump. I don't know if he's going to be an all-star, but he's going to be their best player. But when you look at this roster that Masai has put together, they're deep. Yeah. They're talented. But the problem is when you get in those big game situations or get to the playoffs, who do you put the ball in the hand? Because, again, it's great. I love Nick Nurse's offense where he's passed and they play with pace and flow and the ball moves. But come playoff time and the game slows down and you put the ball in your number one guy in who can create a shot for himself or create a double team and kick it out for someone to get a shot. Yeah. Who is going to be that guy? And can Siakam become that guy?
Well, they're hoping that Siakam can and will be that guy. I have the Raptors making the playoffs simply because they have know-how. And what I mean by know-how is that they know how to win. They've been in those big moments. They're not going to be afraid. They've knocked down big shots, so forth and so on. But you're right, Sam. They don't have that. They don't have that comfort level in terms of saying, I can throw it right to, Kawhi, and Kawhi's going to make something happen.
Or he going
Somebody's got to develop into doing that. But when you're losing him, not only are you losing your best defender, you're losing your best offensive player, and then you're losing that player that brought you confidence every single night. When you walked out on the floor and the other team looked at Kawhi Leonard, they knew that the Raptors were a confident basketball team. And before Kawhi showed up, remember, that was the question, does Toronto have the confidence to keep moving forward? And they didn't. Kawhi showed up, and all of a sudden, they're a confident basketball team.
But Zeke and Chris, you could develop that guy. When I first became the coach in Toronto, we were transitioning from Jalen Rose and Vince Carter as our marquee players to Chris Bosh. People forget Chris Bosh was he was the third wheel on that team right there. And we slowly rebuilt that team around Chris and his skill set, and you saw what Chris Bosh became. So it can be done. It can be done with Pascal Siakam, and I think they have the right pieces to do it. It's just a matter of, does he have it in him? Does he have the mentality? You have the physical tools, and Zeke can tell you, it's not the physical tools. It's the mentality, because a star got to be able to say, hey, I was 0 for 7, but I'm taking that 8th shot.
Yes. Sam, two of those guys you just mentioned are on our list as far as star players that actually left Toronto. You go Chris Bosh, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, and now Kawhi Leonard. So when you look at this current roster that Masai Ujiri has, first of all, he has $100 million in expiring contracts. Yep. So he has to look forward, not just to this season, but beyond. Explain how it's different in Toronto as far as the kind of star that you get to bring in to try to keep.
Well, the tough thing, look at those names up there. None of those guys stayed there, okay? And this is the thing.